Welcome, welcome. Actually, the wrong sound effect.
There you go.
There we go. There we go. Let's get this going, man. Welcome, 4th and 9 to victory. We're going to be doing our position grades from the USC versus Michigan game Saturday. Our USC Trojans was victorious at the Coliseum. We defeated the Wolverines 31-17. And man, we're excited about it. So today we're gonna do our position grades. Um, we're gonna start off first. Offensively, uh, what their grade is overall. Defensively, what their grade is overall. Then the overall team grade, and then we'll go into our positions.
Okay, my overall um, grade for the offense, I want to go B plus, and I'm going to go B plus because of the turnovers. Again, for some reason, we turn the ball over in crucial times on scoring drives. It isn't. I'm talking about to where the defense can't do anything about how Riley is dialing up plays. So this game we was in the red zone, heading into the end zone. We had a fumble by a tight end. Then the second turnover we had was by a quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong, the running game was awesome. You got Key Miller to come in, as our fourth string running back, show up for us, 18 carries, 100, a buck 58 in the tub. He was breaking off long runs, and then B Jack to come in the way he did. Two top receivers in the country, Lemon and Lane, they scored the ball. Jay Mive was pretty efficient, as you pointed out in our other video that just dropped. But again, those turnovers was keeping me from giving them an A plus like they deserve. So we had two turnovers, had to deduct a couple points away from the overall grade for the offense. I want to say B plus.
Overall defensive grade.
Overall defensive grade, um, I want to say A minus. I want to say, even though we gave up, we had a breakdown where the safety missed a tackle on the sideline, which we really could have held Michigan to 7 points. But we had a safety to get a sack and two picks. We had a couple of tackle for losses. Freshmen continued to stand out. Jakeem Stewart and Floyd Bucard, but most importantly, Devin Hopkins with the two sacks. There was pressure on Michigan's quarterback all night long. He wasn't really comfortable. Again, outside of that one play to where safety just took a bad angle and didn't break down. We could have held Michigan to 7 points. We held their running game to 109 yards on the day, which is what our overall objective was. But we still got some stuff to clean up. So I want to say an A minus, and I gave him that because of the effort that I saw out there. It was definitely a 180 from what we saw in the last contest, and even much so was much more important. Those hidden numbers that you always talk about, not giving up more than 4 yards per play on the ground. We held them to 3.5 yards, which bode well for us. But we kept their star running back to under 100 yards.
All right. Before you do your overall grade, special teams.
Special teams, our field goal kicker, 54-yard field goal. He came in and it was at a pivotal time. You mentioned that during the live, we were up 14 points. And when he came in, this game could have easily turned, but that put us up 3 scores. Not only that, but he had room to spare on that field goal. So he wasn't projected to start. He came in. Riley said, well, hey, look, we need you to kick it at a moment where I thought we was going to punt. It made more sense to punt, especially where we were on the field. You and I were anticipating for us to punt the ball. And when I saw them bring on the unit, I was like, oh, man, what are we doing here? But he came out and he did his job.
All right. Coaching, offense and defense combined.
Coaching Riley is in his bag, man. A plus. He can't help. There's nothing he could do about a kid fumbling the ball. So he did what he did. He did this thing. He did Riley things. What's more important to me is that he's held true to his word with running the ball, balanced attack. As a matter of fact, we've had more rushing attempts than we had passing attempts in that game. Defensively, Danton Lynn got to go with an A. This defense looked totally different from what it did against Illinois. So for me, I got to go with an A for Riley and an A for Danton Lynn.
All right. So you gave offense a B, you gave special teams an A, you gave
I
coaching
gave
A.
offense a B plus. I gave offense a B plus.
Okay. So what's the overall team grade?
Overall team grade, you got to go with an A, just a straight up A.
All right. All right. So for me, offensively, I'm going with a B plus for what as well because 2 turnovers. Not only that, 2 penalties. 1 penalty could have been very, very costly. The personal foul
Right.
that got us 3rd and 22. We was able to overcome that. So because of that, with the 2 turnovers, I'm giving offense a B plus. Defensive wise, I'm going to give the defense a B plus as well. As far as defensive play, like I said, we did have 3 sacks. We did have some tackles for loss. We had 2 interceptions by Fitzgerald. We did have some, one, it wasn't a missed assignment, it was just a missed tackle, right? When they got us on that cover 2, throwing in between the corner safety, just got to make that. We still had some periods of what we've seen all year where teams are able to hit us for 12, 13 yards on the ground. Nothing like it was against Illinois. It wasn't that the defense line was getting pushed back. Again, it was just gap integrity issues where people just have to come up, shoot that right gap. So defensively wise, I'm going to give us a B plus. Offense and defensive coaching, both of them is getting a from me. Right, Riley has been getting an A all year, dialing up the right plays, being prepared for what defenses try to do against us and what they do well. He's coming with an answer every time, right? We broke it down. We know they like to overload blitz. Michigan was a team that led the nation in blitzing, and he came in throwing those screens as we said in film he should do. That were killing them against the blitz. Michigan defensive coordinator was over there looking defeated. He didn't know what to do. Riley had him, so off kilter. Offensive line did their thing. Special teams, A, right? You already prefaced this. Ryan Sierra with that 54-yard field goal. Not only that, his kickoffs, right?
Right.
Their teams are not able to return anything. We're forcing them to have to go down the field. He's kicking every kickoff out the end zone. You know what I'm saying? Right. We only punted one time. The punt was 40-some yards. But we didn't have any special teams errors this game, right? No penalties on punt return coverage, no penalty. You know what I'm saying? So played a clean game. So definitely special team gets an A. So I have 2 B pluses, 2 A's. So that's gonna equal out to an A minus, B plus A minus as the overall team grade. All right, moving on to breakdown by position grades.
Okay.
All right, we'll start off with our quarterback. We only had 1 quarterback play. Longstreet didn't see the field for any zone read this game. So Jaden Maiava he leads the country in efficiency and still going to lead the country in efficiency, right? He was 78%. 25 for 32, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and 1 bad interception. Just got to throw the ball away outside the lines, right? Don't throw the ball away inside the field of play. But outside of that, he was outstanding. What is your grade for quarterback room?
A minus on Jaden Maiava for the very same reason, like you said. He had that 1 mistake, but for the most part, he's been pretty efficient on the year, leading the Big Ten in quarterback efficiency, and I believe quarterback rating. Takes care of the ball for the most part. Again, he did have that 1 interception, so I gave him an A minus for that. He looks confident in this offense, man. He looks totally different from what he looked, coming in last season. We talked about how he made some questionable throws, and Riley has been really developing him during the offseason and just reassuring him, hey, look, it's okay. You're going to, it's a game of football. You're going to have some turnovers. You just can't continue to make the same mistakes. So I anticipate that he'll get that cleaned up. Like you said, I think maybe he tried to throw it as an incomplete pass inside of the field of play. I don't know who he saw on there, but it was just an ill-advised throw. Should have been thrown out of bounds, but I expect for him to bounce back from that and get even better than what he's been playing.
All right, so you're a little more benevolent again than me. You back to being a benevolent one.
What'd you
Great
get?
game, great game by Jaden Marble. Can't take anything away from him. The kid is a stud. But a turnover, an interception. This is the second game in a row. He's been playing great, right? I don't have anything to say negative about the kid, but due to the interception, I'm going to drop you down to a B plus because of when the interception happened and where we was at. We were up 14 with a chance to put the game away, right?
Right.
In the red zone, and you just can't make that decision. You just can't throw that ball. He was running for his life. Throw the ball in the bleachers. At least we would have got a field goal right there. It was third down. We would have got a field goal, and we would have been able to go up 17. But I'm gonna have to drop us down to a B because Michigan actually went down the field on us. And thank God Bishop got his first interception in the red zone, and then we were still able to go back down and get a field goal. But if Michigan scored on that drive, we're looking at a whole different ball game. That would have been a 14-point swing. It would have been 21-14, and pressure would have been on when we had a chance to go up, 17 points right there and really put a dagger in them. So I'm going to give the quarterback a B plus on that. Running back room. I mean, moving on. I'm about to go into running backs. Running back room. King Miller led the way. 18 carries, 158 yards, 8.8 average, 1 touchdown. His longest run was 49 yards. Waymon Jordan, before he got injured, had 11 carries for 39 yards, averaging 3.5. His longest was 11. Brian Jackson. Shout outs to Brian Jackson. Brian Jackson wasn't even dressed out for the game, but due to Eli Sanders and Jordan getting hurt in the first half, shout out to the SEC staff for calling NCAA and getting it approved. He went in and got dressed in the third quarter, came out and balled. 5 carries for 35 yards, averaged 7.7 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. His longest was for 29. As a team, 35 carries for 225 yards, which was an average of 6.4 yards. Great for the running back room.
A plus. And for the main reason has been the next man up mentality. One key factor in this game, we didn't turn the ball over. We lost our 2 of our top running backs, especially the top our starter running back, who just so happened to be number 2 in the conference, and Waymon Jordan. We don't know how long he's going to be out. Eli Sanders, we lost him, and as you stated before, Brian Jackson didn't even dress for the game because we had 3 running backs on the roster, and he's healing up from some form of soft tissue injury, so he wasn't even dressed for the game. In addition to our freshman running back, Harry Dalton wasn't also dressed. So I called King Miller's number. You know as well as I know, I had said at the beginning of the season, I want to see this kid with the first team offensive line to see how we would perform. And he lived up to the building, like you stated, 18 carries, a $158 and a touchdown. Michigan was definitely not expecting him to come in and do what he did, especially after our 2 primary running backs went down. But he came in and he did his thing, and he put the nation on notice. Brian Jackson, your team needs you. Coach tells you, hey, look, B-Jack, we need you. If we can get it approved, can you come in and can you go get dressed out and come in for us? Without hesitation, he comes in. Me, myself, I was a little hesitant. I was like, I don't know if I'll play this kid. He hadn't seen it in the action in the past couple of weeks. He hadn't touched the ball. He hadn't touched the ball all game long, and then he come in off the bench like that. But, he proved me wrong in that situation. He came in, did Brian Jackson's thing. Looked like he left off where he picked up where he left off at, with the vision, the cut back, get a touchdown run to really put this game away. And I think that hopefully we can get him back to where he'll be 100% on next week. We're definitely going to need him. So overall, I give the coaching, the running back coach, Anthony Jones Jr., and the running backs an A plus.
Got you. Got you. Running back room for me is going to be a plus as well. Um, the film, the numbers, they speak for themselves, right? Every
Right.
running back was productive. They were able to pass block efficiently. They were able to run in between the tackles. Like I said, for what Brian Jackson and King Miller did, to come in and pick that up for us with those injuries. I mean, we out physical Michigan and they ran all over Michigan, man. I mean, we talked
Right.
about it. Not much needs to be stated about this running back room. From game one, everyone was saying Penn State had the best running back backfield, and we've been telling people, no, we do. We can go four deep, right? We got a four-head
Right.
monster, right? We're deep. Riley has been telling us since the offseason that by far this is the best running back room he's had since USC. We've done a previous video ourselves talking about is this the best video? I mean, is this the best running back room that Riley has had? And we looked at each running back and we said it was. And it was on full display yesterday with how
Mhm.
deep we were. You can see the difference that when Michigan's Justice Haynes got hurt, even their backup got hurt due to physicality, how our defense was playing. They really had no other answer. While we can go four deep in our bag, right, and
Right.
go. So definitely the running back room is going to get a A. All right, and tight ends included. We're going to the wide receiver room, right? Um, Makai Lemon led the way with 9 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Walker Lyons had 2 receptions for 42 yards, averaging 21 yards a catch. Lake McCree had 2 for 41, averaging 20.5 a catch. Jacoby Lane had 5 for 35 in a touchdown, averaging 7 yards a catch. Jada Richardson, again, um, Jada Richardson don't get a lot of hype from
Credit.
everyone,
Yeah, a
but
lot of credit.
since Lane
Yeah.
has been hurt, his catches have been so timely to move the sticks, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He had 2 receptions for 15 yards, seven and a half. King Miller had 2 receptions for 14, 7 yards per catch. Eli Sanders, the play which he got hurt on, 1 reception for 11 yards, averaging 11 yards a catch. Tanuk Hines had 1 catch for 8 yards. Waymon Jordan had 1 catch for 6 yards. 25 catches, total 265 yards. What is your grade for the wide receiver room?
Well, since we're adding the tight ends in with it, I'm going to have to go with B plus. Again, we had an untimely turnover in the red zone by our tight end, our veteran tight end at that. So again, I'm not coming down hard on the kid. It happens as a part of football, but we got to secure that football. Again, we don't want this to become an issue, at one of these crucial games on into the schedule, and we're going in for a score, or we're having a stall drive, and finally find some success, and then we do what we do the unthinkable, turn the ball over. So ball security is first thing, but because we're adding the tight ends with the wide receivers, I want to go with the B plus. Of course, with Kyle Lemon, he's a dog. He's doing his thing. Jacoby is coming back. Hopefully, we can get him back to 100%. And like you pointed out, also with Jaden Richardson, just making those timely catches, man. I mean, big catches and getting up the field and getting down. I preface that also alluded to that in one of in our earlier video, that sometimes it's best when you get those yards to go ahead and get hit and go down. That way, you lessen the chance. I'm not going to say you're going to alleviate it, but you'll lessen the chance of fumbling if you once you get that draw that contact, to not try to drag 2-3 people to just go ahead and go down. So I'm going to go B plus.
Yeah. And man, and what happened with Lake McCree on there? He just never seen the guy coming. So it
Yeah,
wasn't even that
yeah,
he was trying to get extra yards. I mean, the play call was perfect. Again, they did an overload blitz. This time we hit him with a tight end screen, right? And he was running, and he never seen the guy coming to even know to get down. But this is where we're gonna be different, right? You were benevolent with the quarterback grade, right? You still gave him
right,
a minus due to the interception. I gave him a B, right? And that
right.
was simply because it was 2 games in a row. As far as wide receivers, even though they had that tight end had that fumble, I'm going to go with A minus just because of the totality of how the wide receivers played, right?
Hmm.
How all of them played. Every last one of them, man. And like Makai Lemon, his catch on the sideline, right?
Yeah,
Um, what a beautiful catch to get his feet in. He had another one like that, and they didn't challenge it, and they didn't, you know what I'm saying? And when it was obviously a catch, but outside of that, just their catching, it was their blocking because you can run all the wide receiver screens you want to against the blitz. If those wide receivers are not blocking, right, it's not going to hit. There was
Right.
only one time a wide receiver missed a block, right? We talked about that, Jacoby Lane,
Yeah,
but
yeah, he missed that block.
he
Yeah.
made up. But outside of that, as much as we ran those screens, the wide receivers outside of the catching, they were blocking downfield as well. You can't get long runs if wide receivers are not blocking downfield in the run game as well. So just the totality of what they did, even though we had that one fumble, just everything else they did in this game, they were unstoppable as a group. So I'm going to give wide receivers an A minus. All right. Man, about to have a totally different conversation, right? Because last week we were like defensively, not much to say.
Hold on. We didn't cover the O line. Did you get the O
Oh,
line?
yes. How did I forget O line? How did I forget O line? Let's take a step. Let's take a step back. What's your O line grade? Thank you for.
I'm gonna go A, man. Well, A minus. We had, Jaden had a couple plays where he was under duress, looked like he was running for his life, and I did see a couple plays where our offensive line did get pushed back. Well, not the line itself, but um, one of I think it was the guard. I can't remember exactly what number it is. I don't want to call out the number, but I did see them get pushed back. And toward the end of the game, they had a couple of TFLs. So, but for the most part, they've been keeping Jay Miava clean, keeping him upright. It's just that sometimes I just see a little bit too much pressure for my liking. But overall, I think what the offensive line coach doing Hanson is doing is an outstanding job. We had a couple of linemen to go down, the center and the tackle. We had some players to step right on in, and it's like the starters weren't even out. So for that reason, I want to go A minus.
Yeah, offensive line for me, quick and simple to the point, right? 265 uh, rush yards, right, against the number 18 in the country. They was ranked 13 against the rush, and they totally dominated, right? 225 pass yards. Yes, there were a couple of times Mava had to escape the pocket, but it wasn't a constant thing.
Right,
It may be two or three plays that happened in the game. For the entirety of the game, he was pretty much clean, right? A couple of times he threw the ball, got hit, but there was no true pressure. That defensive line had no effect on this game. Our offensive line totally dominated. Definitely going to give the offensive line an A. They've done their job, right? Backup center, backup tackle, mismatch offensive line. The depth of UFC offensive line has been shown over these past few weeks with two starters out, and we haven't missed a beat. So definitely the offensive line, easy A. All right.
defense.
Moving on, we're gonna have a totally different discussion. Last week was like defensively, not much to say here. LD, and we do just want to say, well, I want to preference that again. If you haven't watched our post game video, go ahead and check that out. We talked about it as well then too, right? There was some information we got after we did our videos last week.
Right,
Uh, we knew Ramsey had the food poisoning. We didn't know to the extent of any other players. We did know during Illinois, Floyd Picard, John Jarrett, and some of our bigger guys on their tier didn't play. But like 3 plays, we do know that after that game, that Gentry was dealing with some food poisoning still during that first week of practice, and not making an excuse for the Illinois game, but there's definitely validity that these kids were sick, because what we seen from the first drive from our defense, especially up front, that these players were totally different than what we seen from Illinois. But the film was the film, and how they performed in Illinois, we gave our grades on it.
right,
And so we definitely, if you didn't watch our pregame review, that was one of our downs. We were asking, with what we know now, what we see now, was Illinois an anomaly, or like what should we expect to go forward? We both agreed that even though we gave up a couple of running plays, right? 12 yards, 13 yards here. What we seen in the Michigan game, we seen since game one where that's been happening. But what we also seen in the Michigan game that we seen every game outside of Illinois is that we were able to get sacks and tackle for loss to negate that. And out of 6 games, if one game is different than the rest, you have to say that one game is the anomaly. And so we do want to shout out Deontay Lynn, the defensive staff, the defensive players as well. And so from what they did, and we're going to be honest, we're filming this on a Sunday. So we did just get some breaking news that Penn State has fired James Franklin. Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
Just got it.
just got it. Yeah, this video will be dropping Tuesday, but we are recording on Sunday, and it just came through with breaking news that Penn State fired James Franklin. All right. Wow. So let's get into it.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Did you expect that?
I didn't.
Okay.
The reason I didn't expect it because Penn State as a program, when he got there, he inherited a mess dealing with the whole Joe Patino linebacker coach saga. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to talk about that, but look it up. You'll see where Penn State was and what was going on. Definitely sickening and just not right. But he took over that program and made them competitive. I mean, he was just a game away from the national championship last year, right? He was just a game away. He took Penn State deep into the playoffs. I mean, they were a play away. They were leading that game against Notre Dame, right? They lost it at the end. They was like one play away from a national championship. So thought they would give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, yeah, this is a down year, but you know, and what he has done, they've been competitive every year since he's been there, right? They haven't had more than 2 or 3 losses a year. So I thought they would give him the benefit of doubt, you know, one bad year, but obviously not. But let's get back into this. We're going to start off with the your defensive line grade.
Defensive line grade, A. Anytime you hold a team like Michigan to 109 overall yards rushing, especially with the amount of with the talent that they have of running back and just to say, and I know he got hurt. I understand he got hurt, but Michigan, even last season, we go back to last season, Michigan ran the ball at will on us. They run the ball at will on a lot of teams, and it's mainly because they're physical up front. It just so happened that our defense stood up and said, "Hey, look, you're not going to push us around." So for that very same reason, we were able to get some pressure on him, get some pressure on their quarterback. Got 2 sacks by the defensive line. I know when we did our game preview and we talked about the impact players on the defensive side of the ball, and you said anybody on the defensive line, which is general, right? And they showed up for work. They showed up for work on Saturday, man. So shout out to that defensive line. Shout out to Coach Henney. Shout out to Coach Lynn. And shout out to Coach Newell, man. Shout out to Coach Newell for getting those guys ready. So I'm going to say an A. I give him an A.
For me, defensive line definitely gets an A, right? Total team tackles for loss was 5, but four of them was by defensive linemen, right? I mean, we were hitting these guys in the backfield. Jakeem Stewart flashed through there again so quick for one of them. 2 sacks by the defensive line, the interior defensive lineman, right? Tompkins, not edge guys, the interior defensive lineman. Definitely get an A. And the reason they're going to get an A is because they didn't lose all night. Even when Michigan was able, and it looked like their run game was picking up and they started getting 10 and 12 yards, it wasn't due to the defensive line being pushed back on skates like we did against Illinois. It was because gaps wasn't being filled by the second level. So this defensive line took over this game from the beginning. Even when they wasn't sacking Underwood, they were hitting him, right? He was limping. For a second we thought he wasn't even coming back in, right?
We thought we were done.
Well, it was like after he took that hit, Lucas had lit him up. So even when they wasn't getting there, they were still pressuring him and they were getting him off his spot. They did an excellent job of doing what, B, as you said, not letting him get outside the pocket, right? Keep making him beat you from the pocket. Make him beat you from the pocket. Defensive line, A. I mean, you went from an F 2 weeks ago against Illinois to an A. That's all I can say. A, great job. kudos to that defensive staff. Kudos to the defensive players who, like you asked for in your pregame, do something. They did
Yeah,
something. They
yeah,
did
yeah.
something. All right.
Right.
Moving on. The second level linebackers. Eric Gentry led the team. 6 total tackle, 5 solo, with 1 pass deflection. Desmond Stevens, 5 total tackles, 5 were for solo. Jaden Walker had 5 total tackles, 4 was solo. What's your grade for the linebacker group?
Um, I'm going to be benevolent today. A minus. I am. I'm going to give him an A minus today. And we mentioned, we always talked about, hey, look, we don't want to see any breakdowns during the game. And there was a period, and I want to say it was in the third quarter,
Mm-hmm.
where they were breaking off some big rounds. I mean, they were 10, 12 yards, a pop. And we were like, well, hey, look, if Moore wants to keep the ball on the ground, that plays right into our hands. If they want to get 4 or 5 yards a pop, we're leading. You can run out as much clock as you want to. But then
Right.
we started giving up 10, 12 yards a pop. And it was mainly because, like you said, the linebackers had started to relax a little bit. They wasn't really filling those gaps like they were supposed to. It wasn't because of the defensive line. They did their job. The linebackers kind of like lax, but overall, man, I can't be mad at, their aggression and what they put onto that field, man, the effort that they gave. So I'm going to say A minus.
Yeah. Hey, the benevolent one is back. I see over there.
Right, right.
So linebackers, I'm gonna go a B plus, right?
Okay, okay.
Great game by the linebackers. Eric Gentry did Eric Gentry things, right? I don't see how these stats are saying he didn't have any tackles for loss. Like I stated, we needed to go 4-3 in our film study. And what did I ask for? For Gentry
Right,
when we go 4-3 and we go
right,
5-man, for Gentry to be on the edge to be able to shoot down like he
right.
did, and he did that 2 or 3 times. So maybe it was for no gain or 1 yard, but it just looked like it was tackle. But he looked like he had tackle for loss, but he's not getting credit for any. But as far as linebacker play, I'm going to go B plus. All 3 linebackers played good, but we did have a couple, like you said, where there was some breakdown and some gaps where we're not being shot. Shout
Right.
out to Jaden Walker, man. We
Oh,
went there
big
4-3
time.
linebacker, and that kid played. Shout out to Tamir Robinson, because
Oh yeah.
even Tamir Robinson came in and was shooting a gap, causing pressure right up the middle with blitzes. You know what I'm saying? While he
Mhm.
didn't make the sack, he still affected the quarterback while he was there. So as far as the linebacker group, only because and we didn't see no missed tackles from the linebackers like we seen
Right.
against Illinois, right? Again, we know the situation at Illinois, so we're going to take that as an anomaly. But shout out to the linebacker group. I'm going with a B plus for the linebackers. All right, moving on to the third
Mhm.
level, defensive backs.
Okay. I'm going to say A minus. A minus on that. We got our captain back there, Kamara Ramsey. Because of the switch in defensive front, we're able to put him back at his rightful position. He's the captain back there. He holds it together. He makes the play calls. He's the green dot back there. The only reason why I say A minus, we did give up that 68-yard pass play that I think that had the safety broke down when he got there. Used the sideline as a teammate break down, and if anything, just push the kid out of bounds. Then I don't think that we give up that score, especially not that fast. Bishop Fitzgerald, the transfer from NC State, another game where he had multiple interceptions. He also had a sack off the edge. So for that reason, I'm going to say an A minus.
All right. Yeah, you are feeling benevolent. To me, the defensive backs today, I mean, for this game versus but I actually gonna go with a B plus. So
You
I'm
gonna go
not
with
far.
B plus?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a B
Okay.
plus for him. Reason I'm going with a B plus for him is that breakdown missed tackle, right? On
Right.
that bomb.
Mhm.
We was also beat over the air on that. We was in good position though. We
Yeah.
were beat for another touchdown
The one that
through the
Nicholson
air.
gave up. The one that Nicholson
Yeah,
gave up. Yeah.
yeah, it was there a good position as well as too. Uh, again, we were giving up a lot of, like, when they got to going on that second drive and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he the quarterback had started picking, and I mean, it wasn't like he was just picking us apart, but he had wide receivers open at 5 yards and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, 10 yards. But outside of that, you know, the defensive back was able to get us Fitzgerald 2 interceptions. That's great. Defensive back Fitzgerald was able to get us a sack right from the defensive backfield.
Mhm.
DeCarlo Nicholson had a couple of pass breakups,
Right.
and he played an outstanding game. As you remember that first 3 and out, what I say on that first down, make them throw it on first down, and they try to
And
go
they went
deep.
for it. Yeah, and they went for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Nicholson was there right in stride. So there was a
Right.
lot of
Right.
plays that they threw at Nicholson where it
Mhm.
don't show up on the stats to where he was actually in position and it was an incompletion, though he might not have batted it or anything. But then you see Nicholson come back when they try to throw the ball to the goal line on their deep ball. What do he do?
Right.
Bat the ball down.
Got the ball down.
So
Right. Right.
Nicholson played a great game. Shout outs to him. Shout outs to him, man, and shout outs to the defensive backfield. I'm gonna give them a B plus.
Okay.
All right. So we gave our position grades, we gave our overall team grades, we gave our coaching grades.
Right.
For this, man, definitely a lot better. Definitely, you know, a lot better than last week's grades. These are the grades that we want to give out every week.
Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
All right, let's be honest. These are the grades that we want to
Because if you
give
think
out.
about it, Chris, even though in our wins, I'm omitting the Illinois game, even in our wins, we weren't giving out grades like this.
We wasn't. That's true. Like, yep,
You know what I'm saying?
especially because of defensively grades because of the things that we right.
Right.
You
Right.
definitely
Right.
right. So that's that is a great thing. And before we get out of here, again, just full disclosure, we do record our position grades on Sunday. We talked about the breaking news of James Franklin getting let go at Penn State. We do want to share this real fast. Let me try to flip screens here. The polls are now out,
Right.
and USC. I'm sick to my stomach because it's foolishness. But we can look at
I'm
this
not
real.
sick. You want to know why? Because I anticipated. You remember when I told you when I told you they weren't going to put us in there high? I expected that. I was like, look, they're not going to jump us to no 15. They're just not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew they weren't going to do it, but at the same time, it's still not a. It's still seeing. So let's just look at this real. Hold on, fast. I don't think the right screen is sharing.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, because all this just broke, and so we trying to. Not quite right. Is it sharing?
All right, cool.
All right. So let's just go through the top 25 real fast, and we'll say one thing or two. So right now, Ohio State is number 1. Miami is number 2. As far as proof of concept on the field and who Miami beat, I think they should be ranked ahead of Ohio State. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They beat
Right.
Notre Dame. They've beaten Florida State. They've beaten a lot more top teams. Where Ohio State hasn't beaten anybody that's ranked yet, have they? They beat Texas, and Texas ain't ranked. So, right. Indiana, I agree with Indiana being there at number 3. Texas A&M number 4. They did beat, no arguments. They did beat again. They beat so far. They beat Notre Dame, right? They haven't beat another ranked team. They beat Florida. Ole Miss number 5. Ole Miss hasn't really played a top tier team yet, but no argument there. Of course, they're gonna have Alabama at 6, but Alabama did beat a good Missouri team. They beat an undefeated Vanderbilt team that they had ranked last year. They only lost to FSU, so I can see that one loss. Georgia at number 7. They've only lost to Alabama.
They haven't impressed me. Georgia haven't impressed me this season. Texas Tech has though.
Yeah, they Texas Tech has, right?
Yeah,
While the Big 12 is not really a strong conference, they've done what they're supposed to do within that conference, though. So Oregon is at number 9. You can justify that because of how hard they was ranked, and they lost to the number 17, which is number 3 team
right.
now, Indiana. They did lose at home by 10, but you can justify them being there. LSU hasn't impressed me, but
No.
they started them off in the top 10, so it's going to be hard to knock them out when everybody else is losing with one loss. Let's see. Tennessee is 11. Georgia Tech is 12. Oklahoma dropped down to 13 after losing to unranked Texas. BYU is 14. Notre Dame with 2 losses is 15. Missouri is 16. They have 1 loss. They lost to Alabama, so they're saying that 1 loss to Alabama is better than our 1 loss to Illinois, who's no longer ranked. Texas with 2 losses. They
Right
beat
back in the
Oklahoma. They
polls.
back in there.
Right back in the polls, right? Wow. Right back in the polls.
Yeah, yeah, they lost to Ohio State, and they lost, yeah, and they lost to an unranked Florida team, but because they beat Oklahoma, they right. Vanderbilt is 18, which is an unranked team. They beat Vanderbilt. Their only loss has been to Alabama, but they haven't beat anybody else. But somehow they're ahead of us because of that. Virginia, they beat FSU, which done lost 3 straight games. So Florida State is not what we thought they was going to be. So that Alabama loss don't even look as good now. No way Memphis is better than us. No way Memphis is better than us. Yeah, yes, they beat Arkansas, but Arkansas haven't won a game in a month. No way Memphis is better than us. And this is the coaches poll. They has USC ranked as 21. They have Utah ranked as 22, USF as 23, Cincinnati as
Did they have us
24.
ranked as number 20 or number 21?
This is the coaches poll. We're at 21.
Well, okay, we're at 21 in the coaches poll. I thought I saw us at number 20. Maybe there was an AP poll at number 20.
That might be the AP poll. But
yeah, it might be.
That's wild, man. But again, we got everything ahead of us. We just keep doing what we're doing, and we will be fine. Now in the AP poll, we're 21 too.
Are we? Okay.
Yep. We're 21 too. So we're 21. And that's wild. You would definitely think with all the losses and what's went around, like Vanderbilt has 1 loss. Yes, it's to Alabama, but they don't have a win better than our win. We just beat the number 14 team in the nation, right? So, but It is what it is. You know how they do against USC. But anyway, man, if we keep doing what we're doing, the polls will take care of itself. Everything's ahead of us. If you haven't looked at our post-game recap video, please go check it out. Again, Thursday we'll be dropping our film study review on Notre Dame. Saturday we'll be going live for the Notre Dame game. We'll be on at 6 Central Time, and the game will kick off at 6:30, and we'll be on giving our live game analysis, breaking down the game, taking your calls, comments, responding, letting you call in and say what you want to see. B, you got anything else?
As always, man, continue to subscribe, like the channel, and share the content. Hit the bell for notifications.
Yes, sir. And always, man, we appreciate all the support. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you like, share, comment in the videos. Help us keep the algorithm going. As we always say, we're a new channel. We started game 1 of the season. So help us get out there and to, increase our growth, as well as be able to communicate and share with more of the USC Trojan Nation, especially with our live game analysis and call-in show. We definitely appreciate everybody. Man, as always, we out of here, baby.
Fight on.
USC beat Michigan 31-13, baby. Fight on.
Fight on. Fight on.